some music production tips while I've got you here, and then I can answer any questions that you have. But just bear with me for a couple minutes while this builds up. Okay, so in today's live chat, there's a couple of things I want to touch on. First, I want to touch just on staying motivated to make music in this time. It's crazy for so many reasons and challenging. I found that the type of music that I've been interested in making has been very different than what I normally like to make. I've been much more making just sort of straightforward music that's not particularly complex, but really enjoyable. Sort of been scratching the itch of some EDM type tracks that just sort of make you want to move. And what I found that's really important to just, making music right now is to staying like true to yourself. And if you're not feeling it, don't force it, because there's so much going on in the world right now that you don't want music to be a chore too. It should be an escape for you. It should feel healthy. It should feel good. And so if it's not doing that, then just stop for the day. I've definitely found myself in moments being like, you know what, I can't make music right now. I'm not in the headspace. And just stepping away from it and knowing that at some point you will be in the headspace to do it, and then going and making music then, and really embracing it when you're inspired. This is an interesting opportunity for those of us that are staying home to really do all those things musically that we've never done, like, organize your sample library, make your own patches, make your own samples, go back to those old songs and maybe finish them. And so that's another way you can sort of stay motivated, is by doing like music adjacent things, or learn a new scale, learn some new chords. And those might inspire additional creations. By the way, if you're in the chat, if you're watching, you're welcome to leave a comment, ask a question, anything like that. The main reason I'm doing this is to, be able to help you guys in real time if you have any questions. So don't hesitate to type in what you're thinking or what you're wondering. So when it comes to staying motivated, another thing I think that's really can be helpful is just to have a schedule. Like every day from 2 to 4, I'm gonna sit down and write music. Or every morning when I wake up, I'm gonna play guitar for 15 minutes. These things can really help you sort of break through any rut that you're in, because it sort of becomes just second nature. And while you're in the process of doing the work and improving your skills, you're going to find that you'll have, moments of inspiration. You're going to find that you have like interesting ideas, and then sort of the joy will come back and you can follow those ideas where they lead you, and hopefully get lost in the music. For me, I've certainly found that right now, when I'm interested in making music, which is not all the time, that I really, time just flies without it. Some of these days can be really long, right? It's the weekend today and it doesn't really feel any different than most other days. But when I sit down and start making music and I'm in the mood for it, a couple hours can go by really quickly. And that's really invaluable right now. Another thing is, for those of you that are night owls, I'm not sure that making music at night into the wee hours is great for your mental health right now. I think, you just want to try and sleep and keep to a regular schedule. So those are my thoughts on motivation, making music, staying inspired in this time. Do you guys have any questions about making music, staying motivated, or even finding inspiration? Type them over in the comments section. I'd be interested to know what you think. Another thing that's really been interesting in this time that I want to talk about is the sort of like growth, I think, of making music like as a side hustle. I think more and more people are starting to be aware of it, more people are starting to talk about it, which I think is awesome, especially now that more and more people have free time on their hands. And so when you're doing that, I think it's best to have like a good plan in place and to follow it. But at the same time, I think you need to still find the joy that you get from making music. And if music is something that brings you peace and joy, depending on it for an income and trying to make money off of it right now, also understanding obviously there's like a lot of economic pressure, but if music is your place for mental health, like try and maintain the parts of it that are for mental health. Make music for yourself as well. All right, we have a question from Shona. All right, I'm making experimental music and not really sure about your musical genre. I also don't know what type of audience your music suits. That's a really interesting question. So, Shona, where have you been trying to share your music? Or what artists do you like? What artists inspire you? What artists do you sound like? What I would do is figure out, reverse engineer what the artists that you look up to, what they listen to, what they sound like, and sort of see what their audience is like. A really good way of doing that, I think, is to put in to install Pandora and then see what comes up on Pandora, and from there you can that'll give you a lot of other artists that you can use to inspire yourself and get information from. And so once you know who the other bands are, you can look at their Facebook pages, you can look at their websites, you can see who follows them on Facebook, and that's sort of the guideline to the people that you should be targeting. You can see what other groups those people are into, and sort of see where those audiences hang out, and then try and get your music in front of those people. So that would be the first step I'd take. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Proper hydration. It's a hot day here in Washington, D.C. It's actually pretty nice. Oh, I'm glad I could help. Yeah, so I think, just like, especially at the early stage, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Let's try and see, what works, what's working for successful artists that are adjacent to what you want to do, and go where their people are going. Whether that means, Reddit or Facebook groups, or, if you're going to be advertising to them when you drop a single, there's all sorts of options and opportunities. If there aren't any further questions, I want to give everybody a minute or two. I'll end this and just say that I hope you stay happy and healthy, and keep making great music. Bye.